This is the moment that caused Man United to go and beat Liverpool in the quarter-final of the FA Cup in what was an absolutely incredible game. If any one of you can tell me what I've just witnessed, then please do, because I still don't quite think I understand it myself. I've not had much time to even digest and think about what I'm going to say in this video. I've made some brief points, and by brief I mean I've got about 15 that I want to get through. So there's a lot to unpack, and there's a lot of tactics to look at and a lot of screenshots to look at, but we're going to get through it today, I promise. So make yourself comfortable. We're going to look at how Man United somehow beat Liverpool. And I want to start off, to be fair, by saying for the first half an hour, I was actually very impressed with Man United. And I think they set themselves up in a way that really condensed the pitch for Liverpool into their own defensive third. I thought Liverpool was stuck in trying to build out from the back. And to start with, I'd talk about Man United in their formation when they had the ball. They built up in a 3-2-4-1, which sometimes we've seen the likes of Liverpool and Man City play. But sometimes it would be Diallo that pushed into the midfield and the back three would shift across like this, but more often than not it was actually Wan-Bissaka that pushed forward, almost becoming like a left winger, and I thought he was very good at it as well, considering that he's not left-footed, and he made a lot of underlapping and overlapping runs for Rashford to then find him, and I thought he impressed me a lot. I was really impressed with Wan-Bissaka while he was on the pitch. And I thought Man United also pressed very well. If we go back to roughly what the team was set up like, we saw Liverpool in this 4-2-2. And quite often, say the balls with Kelleher and Liverpool were trying to build out from the back, Højlund would press Kelleher into making a quick decision. Fernandes was on Quansah. Garnacho kind of half-pressed onto Van Dijk. Rashford tried to cover Gomez. And then we look at like these two. McTominay and Mainu just jumped onto McAllister and Endo to just stop them from getting the ball. And I thought it was actually a very clever way of pinning Liverpool back in their own half. And quite often the obvious ball was for Kelleher to try and find Robertson or to find Van Dijk, who then when Garnacho pressed to find Robertson. And I think Robertson, for the first 90 minutes, I think he had like the most touches of the game, or he was up there at least. And I thought that they deserved when they then went and got the goal. It didn't come directly from this, but, and I don't know exactly where every player was, we saw something similar to this where Garnacho made an out-to-in run. And he then took a shot on that Kelleher saved, and it just kind of fell straight to McTominay, who couldn't really miss. And that put Man United 1-0 up. And I actually thought they deserved it. I thought, based on how they'd been playing, it was coming. I think they deserved to be 1-0 up. And they played well up until the 30th minute. And I want to show you this screenshot here. You can see where I've just mentioned about how the Man United midfield were pushing up to press. It left so much space in the mid third of the pitch that as soon as Liverpool beat the Man United press, you can see here Szoboszlai with the ball. He has acres of space to decide what he wants to do with it. And whilst nothing came of this attack, Liverpool really utilised this midfield to try and create something. And given that McTominay and Mainu were already immediately taken out of the game, or at least taken out of the transition at this point, Liverpool started to get a bit of a foothold in the game. And I think Klopp made a bit of a small tweak. So this is roughly what it looked like what the lineups looked like. And what I noticed was that Klopp tried to get hold of that midfield by making McAllister a bit more attacking. Endo kind of became a left CDM, but would drop deep into a back three when needed, because Gomez was starting to invert, and we've seen him do it before, becoming like another defensive midfielder. So Endo would drop back if they needed a back three. But otherwise, we kind of saw this situation, and it allowed Liverpool, as I've mentioned before in previous videos, to get this box midfield between McAllister, Endo, Gomez and Szoboszlai. And it just meant that McTominay, Mainu and Fernandes were outnumbered in the middle of the pitch, and it just meant that Liverpool had that free man to try and get hold of the ball in the midfield. And eventually we've seen Liverpool kind of do this, and they gain a bit of momentum, and it happened again today. And we saw a brilliant goal from McTominay, to be fair, right on the stroke of half-time. From McAllister, right on the stroke of half-time. And we can see from the screenshots, Quansah almost just dribbles straight through the Man United midfield into their box, plays a ball across, finds Darwin Núñez, who realises he can't take the shot and lays it off to McAllister, and McAllister with a brilliant finish to give Liverpool the equaliser. And I thought based on that moment in time, Liverpool actually deserved it. They had gained a bit more of a foothold in the game. And whilst we're then thinking they're going to go into half time at 1-1, it actually then turned out not to be the case, because Fernandes, very, very poor in the corner, in his own corner, just loses the ball to Gomez. Cross comes in, falls to Luis Diaz, who lays it off to Darwin Núñez. Núñez takes the shot, and it's a good save from Onana, and it just falls straight to Salah, who from 2 yards out is not going to miss. And suddenly, from being 1-0 down, they're now 2-1 up going into half time. And Man United had some problems. And coming out in the second half, I didn't think much changed. I thought Liverpool was still dominant for most of the second half. For the first 15, 20, 25 minutes, Man United really struggled. And then we saw some substitutions. And they were quite significant substitutions that allowed Man United to go that bit more attacking and just really try and get that equaliser. The substitutions that we saw, we pretty much saw an entire change of the attack for Man United. Højlund came out and Antony came in, but it meant that Rashford went up top, Antony went right wing, and Garnacho moved over to the left. Eriksen came in for Mainu, and interestingly, I think Maguire came in for Wan-Bissaka, and it kind of then left Lindelof going to a left back. And who was the final one? The final one was it was Diallo came in for Varane, so it kind of meant that we were left with something a bit more like this. Sometimes Antony and Diallo would change around as well. And I think actually by this point that we'd seen some Liverpool substitutions as well. Elliott came in for Szoboszlai and Bradley came in for Gomez. Came in for Robertson, and Gomez went to left back. So it set up something a bit more like this. So you can see almost a bit more of an attacking minded situation from Man United, really trying to chase the game, get that equaliser, and it paid off for them. There was obviously the turnover in midfield that then led to Garnacho getting the ball out on the left-hand side. He tried to dribble into the box, and I think there was a bit of a loose ball. It fell to Antony, and Antony's shot on his right foot, I think it was a hit and hope, but it managed to go in, and it salvaged some hope for Man United. Well, it equalised for Man United, and at this point we're expecting it to go to extra time. And then I think a golden opportunity. Man United were determined to win this in the 90 minutes. And we saw Bruno Fernandes dropped into a centre-back position. Maguire moved forward almost into a number 8. And I think that they were just hoping that for hitting the ball long and Maguire can just knock it down to the likes of Garnacho or Rashford to run onto. Or Diallo or Antony, whoever was around. And whilst that didn't directly lead to something, Rashford had a brilliant chance. Eriksen played a lovely ball over the Liverpool defence, and it fell to Rashford, who in this one-on-one situation, as you can see, he should be scoring this, and that should be 3-2 to Man United, game over. It wasn't. Surprise, because that's not enough drama for one day. Then we go to extra time. I didn't think extra time was actually that exciting. The first half of extra time was a bit boring. Nothing happened. Tactics were very similar. There wasn't much substitutions. I think maybe Robertson came in for Gomez, something like that. I don't know on the top of my head. I think it was something like that. It was a bit boring. Elliott then takes a long shot, deflects off of Eriksen, goes in. Liverpool lead 3-2. I thought when it got to the second half of extra time, Erik ten Hag had kind of lost his mind a bit. He pretty much went all guns blazing, and I guess he kind of had to, but he took off Lindelof and brought on Mason Mount. Fernandes played right centre-back. I'm not even going to lie to you. He played in the defensive line, and Antony went to left-back. So it was almost like this, except obviously it was much higher up the pitch. I mean, it was probably something a bit more like this. And in one situation, the ball, I think, was with Núñez around about here. And I'd imagine it was something a bit like this. McTominay wins the ball. And there's just a through ball on for Rashford, who's in between the defence. And it's a very classy goal from Rashford, who'd missed a couple of chances throughout the game, as we've seen. But he just slotted this one nicely past Kelleher. Simple finish, made it 3-0. And at this point, we're all expecting penalties, aren't we? Obviously. And we go back to what I mentioned at the start of the game, at the start of the video, that moment that allowed... that gave Man United that opportunity to go and win the game. And Diallo, I think there was a Liverpool set piece. Diallo just knocks the ball forward and just keeps running. Garnacho attacks. I think it's a 2 versus 1 against Bradley. And I thought Garnacho had messed it up. When it got to the point of playing the pass, he played it quite weak, and it was a little bit behind Diallo. I thought the chance had gone. I thought Liverpool had gotten away with one, but Diallo on that left foot with a brilliant finish. I thought Kelleher should have saved it, but I mean, the scenes at Old Trafford were quite incredible, weren't they? The whole place just erupted, and they probably deserved it as well. I just from the determination that they had to go, and no matter how many times they kept going down, Man United just were determined to get back into the game and win this. I mean, you can see the celebrations as Diallo gets sent off for taking his shirt off and got a second yellow. I mean, rightfully so, but can you blame him? Probably not. Everyone wants to score a winner at Old Trafford, but I think they got quite a good fixture as well. Man United have got Coventry in the semi-finals, so they're almost guaranteed their spot in the final. So what a moment that actually meant for Man United. And I've definitely missed a few points in this video. There was a lot more tactically that I could talk about. I thought Mainu, while he was on the pitch, was brilliant. And if we look at Scott McTominay's heat map, whilst he wasn't exactly dominant on the ball in one area, I think he just covered the pitch very well. I thought he pushed forward when he needed to. He left some gaps at times, and I thought he made a couple mistakes, but I thought every time he needed to be somewhere, he was there, and I was very impressed. He was probably my man of the match, controversially, but probably my man of the match if it wasn't for Amad Diallo. I thought Garnacho played well as well. Keep an eye out next week, by the way. Subscribe if you... I've got a video coming out next week about how I think Garnacho is actually much better than people think. So stay tuned for that. But for me, I mean, Bruno Fernandes playing centre-back for half the game, I thought he was quite poor, but impressive performance nonetheless. But I thought it was an incredible, incredible game. And I just can't quite believe what I've witnessed. And I've missed so much stuff that I wanted to talk about, but I just want to get this video out. Let me know what you guys think. Did Man United deserve it? Was it the right result? I would argue probably, yeah. I thought Man United did deserve it, but Liverpool were good. Unlucky as well, but they were almost the masters of their own downfall. Let me know what you guys think. Enjoy the rest of your evening, or enjoy your week whenever you're watching this. Prepare yourself, because we've got some boring international football coming up, which I just cannot wait for, because I love internationals so much, so much. Either way, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys very soon.